Hi and welcome to NDA 5 Minutes. These 5 minutes will be spent looking at the EU Commission's proposal for a new HTA regulation in Europe. My name is Johan Strömquist and I'm the CEO of NDA Group, the world's leading drug development consultancy. But before we begin, this topic deserves some further introduction.
Health technology assessment, or HTA, is a multidisciplinary approach to weighing the benefits of a health intervention, that is a medicine, a medical device, or really anything that can be used therapeutically to improve health outcomes, against its cost and any societal or ethical concerns it might give rise to. One of the many questions HTA is trying to answer is how well the technology performs clinically compared to existing options. This we often call relative effectiveness assessment. The issue with HTA is that there are many things you can have an opinion about when it comes to new health technology, and many countries in Europe perform their assessments differently and against different targets. This in turn means that it's become difficult and unpredictable to develop medicines, for example, for the European market, making it harder for companies, not to mention for the patients waiting to receive new treatment options. It also means that many people in many countries perform in essence similar assessments of new products, which is a clear waste of resource. The approach to address this so far has been to invite experts from the different member state agencies to participate on a voluntary basis in a European network to further development of methodologies and tools to conduct particularly relative effectiveness assessments.
Despite the great success of this collaboration, the voluntary model has many issues, one being the low national uptake of its advice and another one being funding. Because of this, the network's recommendations were taken back to the Commission for them to ponder.
Critically, it has been made very clear that what can be centralized is the clinical aspect of HTA, namely relative effectiveness assessments, and any other concerns have been thrown out and are left for the member states to sort out for themselves. So, with the relative clinical effectiveness of technology in mind, what will the new regulation entail? Well, there are really three areas where the proposed regulation would have direct impact. The first one is the conduct of joint clinical assessments of the relative benefit of a new technology that would be carried out centrally, and all member states would be obliged not to carry out their own assessments, unless they have a very good reason, for centrally assessed products. Secondly, scientific consultations for industry would be managed centrally as well, as with any parallel regulatory HTA advice together with the EMA. Thirdly, horizon scanning or identification of emerging health technologies with significant impact would also be carried out centrally and shared with member states to improve planning and budgeting. In addition to these three pieces, the regulation also provides opportunities for other voluntary collaborations not directly under the remit of these three. The idea with the new regulation is that innovative products should end up in this procedure as a matter of fact right after they've been granted their market authorization. This means that any new medicine that requires to pass through the EMA Central Marketing Authorization procedure will be required to be assessed in line with this new regulation. And interestingly, so would any truly innovative medical device, including IVDs, receiving an expert opinion under the new medical device regulation. The member states will actually continue to conduct the assessment, but they will do it together in a new coordination group. This coordination group can be expected to eventually comprise some of the foremost HTA clinicians in the world. A new Commission Secretariat would also be put in place to support the coordination group and ensure coordination with other parties, such as the EMA. The time frame, like all time frames affecting 27 different sovereign countries, is not overly rapid, but with good diplomacy and an already reasonable buy-in, it is not unreasonable to see this regulation gain adoption in 2019, then triggering full-on adoption in the member states by 2022 and full practical implementation by 2025.
Like most regulations before it, this one will most likely also see early national adopters and people and stakeholders interested in piloting it before it is fully adopted. And at the same time, we can expect there to be laggards and outliers that will require more support before they can fully contribute to the new regulation. The overall impression so far of this regulation is positive. Well implemented, it would mean improved efficiencies for the member states, greater predictability among developers, and faster access to important intervention among patients. All the while, all of these stakeholders would benefit from the transparency that this new regulation brings.